they are talking about the new first product launch of 2025, which is potentially the TV streamer codenamed Pinewood. This will make or break Sonos. There is one killer feature that potentially can turn Sonos fade on. Hey guys, it's February of 2025 and a lot of things have happened at Sonos in the last couple of months. There's a change in the CEO. The old CEO has stepped down and Tom Conrad has stepped up. They have laid off another 200 staff from the product development team, which should translate to a multi-$10 million savings on an annual basis. The app is shaping up to be back on track, but a lot of people are still unhappy about it. Now, product development since the debacle in May of 2024 when they launched the Sonos app that broke the camel's back is still happening. The Sonos Ace, which is the cause of the Rush Sonos update in the first place, was developed. It was the first pair of headphones in the personal audio market that Sonos has come to market with, and there was the Arc Ultra. And now they are talking about the new first product launch of 2025, which is potentially the TV streamer codenamed Pinewood. This will make or break Sonos. Now let's talk a little bit about the product positioning of this Pinewood TV streamer. What is it up against? It's up against the Apple TV 4K, which is at about $129 or so. There's also the aging NVIDIA Shield, which is about $200. There are several versions of that running around, but you expect to pay about $200. There's also the Roku Ultra, which is more a US-centric product. I don't see it a lot within Asia. There's also the Amazon Fire Stick, which you can get for less than $100, except that there are variations which will cost up to $140. And finally, from Sonos itself, they have the Pod streamer. Right now, the Pod is not really an AV streamer, it's an audio streamer, but that product is like $400 and I don't know anybody who uses it. So if you are using it, let me know down in the comments below. Now, what is Pinewood? Now, Pinewood, the TV streamer, is a new product in almost a completely new product category for Sonos, right? Now, it is touted to have multiple HDMI inputs. So what it means is for the first time ever, you are able to feed HDMI input into a Sonos product that will carry video. So it's not just audio. And there will be one output that goes to the TV. So what this actually means is that it's no longer taking audio signals only from your TV's eARC or ARC output. It is actually able to receive from multiple sources, both the audio and the video, and then just cast the video signals to your TV panel. So this is a shift in the way Sonos looks at its products, right? It also carries a unified interface to all your streaming services. So this is pretty much like Apple TV. I'm not sure if Netflix is going to work together with them because Netflix don't really push that kind of controls over to third-party apps or streamers. Now, the likelihood of how much this is going to cost, the industry is pegging it between $200 and $400. Now, it needs to cover for the loss in the soundbar revenue. Why do I say that? Because there's a likelihood that this Pinewood TV streamer from Sonos may allow you to do away with a Sonos soundbar in order to get audio out from your TV. So there's also another question that I'm very interested about, which is, does it come with a remote? I think there are some variations of remote that Sonos has made over the last 15 years or so, but in all the current recent products, you won't see a remote. It always has the panel, the touch panel, control panel on the device itself, but no remote. I've done a video about the, the IKEA Symphonix volume control remote. I'll put a link up here. I think the video is still available. Check it out if you are interested. So the question is whether this new TV streamer comes with a remote, because TV streamers typically all have remotes. Now, what else is Sonos going to have to put into this device? It has to handle 4K 120Hz. Or does it? I'm not sure, right? Dolby Vision is a given, but 120Hz, I'm not so sure about that. Now, what if it has audio output as well, right? Through RCA ports or a 3.5mm port that can output audio to powered speakers. I am not very sure if Sonos wants to do that, because that means that you can use other speakers and not Sonos speakers. So why would they want to do that? I don't know. But maybe they will allow it to connect to the Sonos amp, right? So you can actually then output audio into the Sonos amp to drive third-party speakers. But that still means that Sonos is able to sell you the Sonos amp, right? It also has to connect to the Sonos Ace headphones, right? They launched the headphones. The headphones now, they connect to the Ray, the Beam, and the Sonos Arc, including Arc Ultra, of course. But I'm not sure if this product is going to be able to connect to this new Sonos Ace. Now, VRR, variable refresh rate, actually as an umbrella requirement, it needs to support at least HDMI 2.1, if not HDMI 2.2. It should work with all other soundbars. Well, I think that is contentious. I don't think Sonos is going to allow it to work with other soundbars, but it may potentially make it work with other speakers through Bluetooth. So Bluetooth, we've seen Bluetooth in the Era 100, Era 300, including the Arc Ultra new soundbar, but those are input, right? So you can actually cast, for example, from your phone, connect to your Sonos system via Bluetooth to output the sound from a Sonos product. But what I'm asking for now is an output from the TV streamer via Bluetooth to other Bluetooth speakers. Again, that introduces the potential that Sonos is going to allow you to use third-party speakers and thus lose revenue on those ecosystem speakers. So not very sure about that. And at the end of the day, what is the form factor of this Pinewood TV streamer? Is it a unit that you want to show on your TV console because it looks good, it looks big, it has presence? Or is it a unit that is to be tucked away like a HDMI switcher? We don't know that for now, and I would say that it is potentially something that is very small to be tucked away, but that also means that a remote needs to be provided. So very interesting, very exciting. Now, we need to talk about how this product is going to save Sonos. In my product thumbnail, I am saying that this is a Sonos revolution. And I was holding up an Era 300 speaker, right? Let me try to explain that in a little bit. There is one killer feature that potentially can turn Sonos fate around. Assuming on a steady state before the launch of the Sonos Ace headphone and before the software S2 debacle happened last May in 2024, let's say Sonos steady state is here, right? Now, when they launched the Botch app and they launched the Sonos Ace, it went down here, right? After many months of trying to recover the software, it didn't move anywhere. Maybe it inched up a little bit. There were things that happened that really, pissed the customers off. But then they launched the Arc Ultra, which then brought the Sonos fate kind of back up to original state, but maybe just a little bit, right? So before Sonos S2 app debacle, here. After Sonos S2 app, here.
Right now, out there on your own, your life expectancy is like here. With me, it's here. Without me, here.
Sonos Arc Ultra came, went back almost here. Now there is an opportunity for Sonos to leapfrog the entire industry and try to create a product that will change its fate around to bring Sonos up here. Here, I don't know, maybe there.
With me, without me. With me, without me.
Right, many years ago when I first started the channel, I talked about the top 10 features that I wanted Sonos to come up with, and maybe I'll just list the features here, right? So these were the 10 features. I am actually quite happy that out of the 10 features, they implemented about 5 of them, right? So what are the 5 that were implemented? The dual sub support was monumental and it was implemented. You had the ability to adjust Atmos, which is the height effect. The input format then showed up on the now playing screen, which is a true godsend. And they launched TruePlay for Android users. They also kind of supported high-res audio, So on Apple Music, for example, you can stream lossless, but it's still kept at 24-bit 48 kilohertz sampling, which is better than 16-bit, I suppose. So in a form, it is high res, although high res people tend to think of it as 24-bit 96 kilohertz sampling, but well, it is somewhere there. So I would say that these 5 features were implemented out of the original request list. Now, what wasn't really implemented, I have to talk about, is the amidst discrete channel. I wanted the system to be able to throw out the actual amidst, the highs effects, through the Sonos amp to drive my ceiling speakers, and you can then have the God of Sound to have real highs effect playing from ceiling speakers rather than being bounced from the Sonos Arc Ultra or the Era 300. They didn't really enhance room groups. Yes, they did launch something to enhance room groups. Now there are more permanent groups, but it is still not enhanced in the way I wanted it, because I wanted to be able to dynamically change the room grouping of the speakers on the go without having to pair, unpair, and repair, right? I also asked for multiple TruePlay configurations, which, now we do one TruePlay. We can't really test different TruePlays, and we can't really break up the speakers and then save the TruePlay configuration. So that wasn't implemented. Now, one of the last things I asked for was the Sonos AV processor. So what is the Sonos AV processor? Essentially, this is the exact feature that Sonos can implement with the Pinewood TV streamer. So think about what the TV streamer is. Yes, it runs software and it casts out audio and video to speakers and to TVs, right? And you can, browse all your TV streaming, all your audio streaming apps on board. But because the Pinewood is rumored to have multiple HDMI input, it then is able to serve as a hub. So you think about all those big AV amps that you can get out there in the market today. They are two things. They are an AV processor and they are also an amplifier. So they have built-in amplification to drive speakers, right? Passive speakers. But this is not what Pinewood needs to do. Pinewood only needs to do the processor function. And there is then an ability to cover all the functions that were not implemented here into one single product. So out of the top 10 product feature request list that we have asked for from Sonos, can be implemented with this one product. Oh, I missed out one thing, which is the TruePlay for third-party speakers. Maybe they won't implement that, because why would Sonos want you to buy third-party speakers, right? And not only that, to have TruePlay work for third-party speakers, you probably need to have a large database of the sound characteristics and the speaker performance of all these third-party speakers stored by Sonos and push. It is just, I think it's too much effort for very, very little gains. In fact, it would be detrimental to Sonos sales if they actually allowed that. But to have Pinewood TV streamer implement 4 of these features, it is really something. So let me just discuss what it can do, right? So imagine you are able to throw the amidst channels into the Sonos amp to drive your Sonos ceiling speakers. Like maybe I just put up this diagram here, right? So there's a Sonos amp involved and they're driving the speakers in your ceiling. Now, this Pinewood TV streamer will then route the amidst heights effect into the Sonos amp, and your front channels, your left and right and the center, it can be routed to the Era 300, which is why I put up the Era 300 in the first place in my thumbnail. And you are able to then use those as discrete left, center, and right channels. And for good measure, throw in another pair of Era 300 at the back, and the Pinewood TV streamer will then be able to stream the surround and the rear surround channels into those 2 speakers, right? Now let's take it into another direction altogether, right? How about a 9.1.4 setup, right? So you can litter your whole room with Era 300. Of course, this is going to be expensive. Devilay did something like that before, limited to 5 channels though. But just imagine, right? You can pair a Sonos sub or 2 maybe, and even add in Era 300 all around the room, and the Sonos Pinewood TV streamer or /AV processor will be able to know where the speakers are positioned and start throwing out the relevant channels to all those. So your whole setup is front and center by the Pinewood TV streamer. With the Sonos Pinewood TV streamer / AV processor being able to understand how all these are grouped together, you can also have enhanced dynamic room groups where you say, okay, now I'm listening to stereo. I only need the first two speakers, the left and the right. And maybe now you're watching TV, you only want the center channel to fire off. And now you're watching a movie and you want all the speakers to fire off. There is a potential, right? I'm not saying that Sonos won't do it, but Sonos may have some trouble implementing this right from the start. But if Sonos has this in mind, over time, they will be able to develop this product into something really, really useful. And because you have multiple groups, you can also have multiple TruePlay configurations, because in some different groupings, they are not going to, not all the speakers are going to fire at the same time. So you do need different TruePlay configurations, right? So at the end of the day, you just think of Sonos as the Sonos AV processor. This Pinewood has potential. Now, then in that case, is it worth $200? Is it worth $400? Which is the kind of estimate range I would say is actually worth a lot more than that. Now, Sonos, if you want to sell this product, right, and it will jeopardize your soundbar sales, right? Because in either of the setup that I have discussed about, you will not see a soundbar in the picture. So the Pinewood is actually routing video to your TV, and your TV just acts as a panel to display visual images. And the Pinewood would then cast audio out to any number of Sonos speakers or Sonos M. There is no soundbar, right? So Sonos is going to lose a little bit of revenue from soundbar, but they can potentially then price this product at $600, $700, $800. And there will still be takers for this product if you make it that powerful and that flexible. And you can recover the revenue from additional speaker sales, right? So if you had the old Sonos 5 and you want to upgrade them to the Era 300 or maybe the Era 500, which is slated to be launched sometime, which has upward firing speakers, you can create a whole home theater setup with Atmos using discrete speakers without the soundbar. Now, there will be people who are likely to go crazy and do a 9.1.4, 9.2.4 setup like I have in this diagram here, and they will sell a ton of Era speakers. All right, so this product is very interesting. We are already in February. A product, if they kept to their previous product launch schedule of 2 new products a year, this is potentially going to be launched in, I don't know, March, which is as soon as next month, or maybe in the first half of the year by May also, right? Because they need to give enough time for this product to generate sales before they launch the next product of the year at the end of the year, in time for Christmas and in time for gifting. So buy yourself a bit of time, I would say between March and May. Now, if you are not subscribed to this channel, do consider that. And if you are interested in anything Sonos, please do remember that I will cover them first on this channel. And I'll see you in one of my other videos, maybe my very, very old video, which it doesn't sound like me, it doesn't look like me anymore. And it's just 4 years ago. I'll see you in one of those videos.